Okay, folks, we warned you. We're going to be back, and we're back now.
Here we are.
And one thing that we're going to talk about is Asian armies. I know several people have asked me recently what Asian armies are good or what have you, and I think you and I have an opinion on that a little bit. So, love Asian armies, and almost all of them are good. They're almost all reasonably combined arms, and have different types of troop types, and they're pretty cool. Now, one thing DBA 3.0 has in the back of the rule book, along with an index, it actually has a geographical index. So what we're talking about is Asian armies, not necessarily from Asia, because we're not talking about the Persians necessarily, but we're talking about what Phil Barker likes to call under here Orient. Because when people says, hey, I'm interested in Asian armies, what do you recommend? They're not talking about India. Now, India obviously is in Asia, but India is kind of their own land. You know, there's a lot of armies that go in there, and they're very different than almost all the other Asian armies.
Oh, yeah.
And people are actually pretty familiar with the Indians because, what do Indian armies say? Elephants. And people want to play with elephants, so invariably,
Yeah.
you've got that tie-in. But we're interested in doing Orient, so we're going to talk about these armies, what we think of them, who makes figures for them. You won't have much to say about that.
Yeah.
But
He searched that site.
yes, that's what I do. So, if you guys have any questions afterwards, we'll be happy to answer them on Asian armies, and we'll also talk which ones we have, maybe which armies we want to build. Our little. What we're dreaming of building and so forth. So, anyhow, here we are in Asian Army. So, if you guys want to follow along with us, this is a DBA 3.0 rule book, and we're talking on page 137. Okay, on the geographical index to army list, we're worried about this under the Orient. So, East Asian armies. Okay.
Far East.
Yeah. Think of takeout food. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. So, okay. So it's split into different sections: China, Chinese borderlands, Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, and Tibet. So we're just, shh! Don't spoil it. It's the last one we're gonna get to. People are gonna be sitting on their edge of their seat worried about that.
Oops.
Okay. All right. So the first one we're gonna go to is Shia and Shang Chinese. Book 113. So let's go to book 113, Mitch.
Oh,
So put a little
like
here.
the Shia?
Yeah. So the one thing I want to mention about Asian armies that can be a challenge is, there's, if you guys aren't familiar, mainly we're talking about Chinese armies. There's two different ways of spelling things. There's the Wade Giles or the Wade Gillies, and also the Pinyin. And to give you the difference of it is, Wade Gillies is Peking, the capital of China, of modern China, and Pinyin would be Beijing. So Beijing, the Pinyin is kind of the more modernized one. It's easier to search for things on there, and that's the one I personally use. Not that I support the Chinese government, but it's just easier to find things with that one. So, but this is all written in Wade Giles, so this is the old style. Some of them are the same, but we're going to call them what Phil Barker calls them in the back. Okay, in the Book of Barker. Book 113, Shia and Shang Chinese. So let's go to book 113. We each have a copy of the book, so we can do commentary on there. And there's actually two lists of the Shia Shang Chinese. This is the earliest army list. This would be equivalent to during the Egyptian period, and those guys were basically just kind of in the valley. And so you've got two lists. 113A. It consists of a bow or a fast blade general.
No mounted.
No mounted, no. No mounted in the earliest of lists. And it's 2000 to 1300 BC. And it has a solid bow general or a fast blade general, your favorite.
Yeah.
5 units that are solid blade, 2 fast ox, and 4 archers that are either fast bow or Soloi, any combination.
That's a pretty cool army.
It is a pretty cool army. Even though it doesn't have any mounted, they're aggression 3, and you got enough with 5 blades, enough blademen to play keep away from the archers, so they should be able to do okay.
Well, you got 4 archers to deal with anybody's mounted.
The only people that make this army would be probably Essex. You could probably use Essex figures for them, even though they really are. There's not much known about this whole period, but then the B list is 1299 to 1017. It's the Shang Chinese. I guess the earlier one is the Shia or the Shang.
The general got tired of walking.
He did. He got a heavy chariot or a light chariot. So depending on what flavor you might want.
Like, I'm riding.
Yeah, he's not going to be on foot. He's not going to be on foot.
Keep up.
And then you've got 3 solid blades, a couple of solid blades, or fast ox, or my favorite, solid ox. And then a fast ox or a fast forward or a Soloi, and then 5 archers that can either be, now they can be solid blades also. They can be fast bow or solid bow. I'm sorry, I meant to say solid
bow.
Solid bow, yeah.
Yeah.
Fast bow, solid bow, or Soloi, any combination in between.
Still aggression 3.
Yeah, so again, that's not a bad army either. You've got one general that can be in different places and at one time with that fast mobility that gives them in that light chariot. If you go with a light chariot, it would have that. Also, aggression 3.
Their ally can be their early European Bronze Age.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Is you're talking about allies, Okay, which I don't think anybody makes. I think there is a company that makes broad Iron Age figures, and I want to say it's MY Miniatures. They're, I want to say from Australia or whatever, but they do make barbarians or whatever.
They're pretty much fighting.
The B list can have an ally of the Western Zhou can have them as that. So we'll get to them.
Yep.
We'll get to them.
Yep.
So Essex is the only guys I can think of right off the bat that make figures for them, ish. I mean, not a whole lot is known to these guys. They're very, I don't want to say primitive, but they wouldn't be wearing like a lot of like armor and helmets and that kind of stuff. They would be kind of, minimalist, is what it is. So
Not as cool.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, unless you like to play, guys that are, not very elaborately uniform. But it looks to me like both of those lists are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
the first one's really cool.
you gonna build them soon?
Not soon.
Yeah, you need a painter.
That is cool.
You need a painter.
I'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay, you need to get some guys. 1-800 I paint for Mitch. Okay, so that's the earliest army from the Orient list, which was the Chinese Shia and Shang dynasty.
Let's jump up to 132.
We'll jump up to 132, which is Western Zhou Chinese. See, that's one of these changes of Wade Gillies. It's CHOU, but the modern spelling of it is ZHOU, which is pronounced Zhou, like it was JO. So.
Cup of Joe in the morning.
Yeah, a cup of Joe. There you go. This is actually a really powerful army. So I'll go ahead and add another thing to it along with the figures. I've never seen someone bring a Shang or Shia army to a convention. I've never seen anyone do that. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They're pretty good armies.
Yeah.
Just never seen anybody do it. Now, the Western Zhou and the combination here is Western Zhou and Spring-Autumn Chinese. Those I have seen people bring to them. So, especially, which list?
Probably the other Chinese. They look pretty tough.
No, the one that has multiple chariots.
Yeah.
And like a lot of chariots.
Other Chinese. One heavy general and 3 other heavy nobles.
Okay, it's the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not the one we're going to start with.
No.
We're going to start with 132A,
Yeah.
Western Zhou, 1100 to 701 BC. So you got a heavy chariot general. You got another heavy chariot. You've got a solid blade, or if you're making tiger guards, a fast blade. Well, that makes me want to build those guys, just so you can give them some kind of uniform that's, you know, maybe tiger skins or something like that. You know, to kind of tie that in there. And then you got 3 more solid blades, 2 fast ox, 3 fast bow, and a soloi. A solid army.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Those guys could take anybody on.
Yeah. Yep. And the next one too.
Yeah, and then you roll into Wu or Yue Chinese army. And this is, for those of you guys that don't know, this is supposedly Sun Tzu's army. So Sun Tzu was an advisor for the Wu army. And what's interesting about them is their aggression 0. Well, the problem with playing Sun Tzu is you can't ever lose.
Yeah.
Or then you give the guy a bad name. You know, he's going to come back for you. You know, but the littoral aggression 0. So you can come up with some zany stuff with them.
Yeah.
You have a heavy chariot general, another heavy chariot, a fast blade, and then you can have 4 fast pike, or fast blades, or solid blades. 2 fast warband, 2 archers that are either fast or solid bow, and 1 unit that is either a soloi or a fast horde. And their littoral aggression
That's
0.
cool.
They have
That's
no
cool.
allies, but that's a cool list.
That's cool.
That is a really cool list. And the other Chinese armies, of course, 132C is a heavy chariot general. 3 more heavy chariots, a fast blade, and then 4 units that are either all fast pike
blade,
or
solid blade.
Yep. And then 2 archers that are faster.
Slow.
Yep, and then a soloi. So the difference between the other and the Wu and Yue is the Wu and the Yue have more, like they've got warband and a fast blade instead of the extra heavy chariots. And their littoral aggression 0. The other Chinese are aggression 0 arable. Now, Essex makes these guys. They've made them for a long time. I've seen people use these. Recently, in the last couple years, Khorasan came out with them now. So Khorasan also makes figures for Western Zhou and Spring-Autumn Chinese. So I was going to build the army of Sun Tzu, but I don't really need to buy any more figures. I've got plenty. I mean, I don't have the figures to build these guys, but I've got enough projects.
Perhaps someday I will. But I have one.
Who's going to
I
paint
have an
them?
army in front of that.
Who's going to paint them?
For a double.
Who's going to paint them?
I'll find somebody.
Okay.
Sooner or later.
Anyways, Khorasan
Later.
makes them, so you know, check them out. They got lots of. They came out, I want to say a year ago, 1.5 years ago, something like that.
So then we jump up to 149, early Vietnamese.
Oh, your people.
Yeah! Which
You've
is
had your
awesome.
eye on these guys for a while.
Yes, yes. I'd like to do the Vietnamese army.
Okay, and there's
One of the later ones, though. I don't like the earlier ones. The earlier ones are too many foot guys, no. Hardly.
You mean
any
the A, B, and C list of the 149?
Yeah.
So, you know, people will run tournaments based on, okay, this is a book 1 tournament, or a book 2 tournament, or a book 3 tournament. Because and there is a time period where, you know, technically book 1 is like pre-Roman.
Yeah.
Book 2 is kind of the Roman up to the fall of Rome period. Book 3 is Dark Ages up to 1066 or so. And then everything after that is book 4. But there's some overlaps. And this is the extreme example of an overlap. And it's the book 149D list, starts at 248 AD and runs through 938 AD. But yet it is a book 1 army. So that goes well into the zone of book 3, but yet it is a book 1 army. So just because it's a book 1 army doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't fight later stuff. This is the extreme example. I don't know if I would go through and if there's a more extreme example than this, but the Alans go to 1500 AD, and they start in the BC, I believe. Well, they're a Book 2 army, but they run all the way into the Book 4 time period, and then the early Vietnamese also. But let's start at the beginning. So, Book 149A, Van Lang or Ao Lac Vietnamese Army. Did I say it right?
No mounted.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. No mounted.
They're the ones that use regular English letters.
Oh, are they? Yeah. I mean, if some of these Asian nations use the right alphabet, we could get close. So.
Just the H is a W and.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we've got a fast warband general, 4 more elements that are fast warband, and then we've got 3 archers that are either a bow or crossbow or saloi. This is 700 BC to 207 BC, so they got crossbows pretty early. None of this, we've found out how to use them because of the Crusades. These guys were on it from a long time ago. A fast ox, and then 3 saloi. Now the interesting thing about it is, this is one of the things that, in my opinion, is, and I'm going to use this loosely, that's broken in DBA. If you could take a fast bow or a fast crossbow, you'd never take a fast bow, because the fast bow it doesn't give you any edge. The crossbow, if a knight or a heavy chariot goes into close combat with you and you tie, you get quick killed by the knight in close combat, not shooting. They shoot the same. It's just you get that extra.
You quick kill them.
You quick kill them. Yes. What did I say?
You
You're drinking. Who know? You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that just seems like there's no downside to, is crossbowmen or longbowmen over bows. If you have the opportunity to take one or the other, unless for some reason you want to model the figures not with crossbows or something like that.
That'd be the only reason.
That would be the only reason. The B list, Nanyue. They have a heavy chariot. And then they also have a solid ox, which is X-Chin Spearman. That's a terracotta warrior, guys. So you could probably use some terracotta figures in there. So nobody makes dedicated Vietnamese figures. Okay. Now, some of these, depending on what time period it is, they have Chinese regular troops to kind of bolster them up. So you can use Chinese for that period, what have you. The only people that make 15, and I'm just talking all 15 millimeter. If you guys aren't into 15 millimeter, I apologize. I don't really know anything about the other scale. I don't paint 28s. I never will. I just don't want to. I don't have the time to spend on all that stuff. But there's more variety generally in 15 mil than there is in 28. So can't help you with the 28s. But I'm just telling you from a standpoint of 15 mil. Nobody makes dedicated Vietnamese figures except a company called Peter Pig. Now, Peter Pig makes a range of Vietnamese figures for the Vietnam War. They make tribal guys that are damn near naked. They have cloth on them and armed with spears and stuff like that. So a couple of guys could probably work for a war band. They've got guys that are damn near naked and have crossbows, so that would work too.
Yep.
I've looked into that. I've looked into doing them. Obviously, you don't want to use guys with AKs, or SKSs, or that kind of thing. But the Viet Cong the Viet Cong figures are flat out. We're talking about Vietnamese peasants. They make a figure that has a monk on it and a tiger. So you could have some fun with that.
Yep.
But they've got the coolie hats. Some of them. Is that what they're called?
You could take heads off one and put it on somebody else.
Yeah, if you want to do that kind of thing. But so there's some hope there. I've entertained possibly building a Vietnamese army, but I got so much lead already. That it would be cool. So right. So that rolls into C, which is the early Vietnamese army that runs 1110 BC through 247 AD. And they have a cab general, 2 spearmen that are 4 ox, or halberdiers or swordsmen that can be solid blades. So I can give them a little bit bolstering stuff there. 2 solid crossbowmen or saloi, and then 3 fast warband, and 2 archers that can either be, again, a fast bow, a fast crossbowman, or a Saloy, and then 2 more Saloys. So you can have quite a few shooters in there. You can have a total of 4 shooters, 3 warband, some solid foot to bolster the center, a cav. Now, if you're talking about Vietnam, Vietnam is split in 2 different areas. Okay, the northern part is what this reference to. This is even the other Vietnamese list, because there's a second Vietnamese list. I have to jump ahead, but it's called Medieval Vietnamese. That covers really the what you would consider North Vietnam. Okay, the second part is an area called Champa, I believe. Okay, and that's actually part of the Khmer list.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to, if we were going to build an ancient Vietnamese army that was in the area where your wife grew up in,
Yeah.
you'd be building a Champa army,
Yeah.
not a Vietnamese army.
Yeah.
Okay, these guys are on the border of China and Nanchao and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting. It's kind of splits in that same border where North and South Vietnam was.
Yep.
But interesting stuff. The D list, of course. You know, this would be the one. If you had to build a Vietnamese army, you got to build this one because it's got an elephant general or a cab general or a solid blade.
Yeah.
Man, you got to build an elephant general, a Vietnamese elephant general. That would be pretty freaking cool.
Doesn't get much cooler than that.
It doesn't get much. It doesn't get much cooler than that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know. And what's that stuff that they eat over there? Pho?
Oh, fog.
No.
Soup.
The soup?
Yeah. Fog.
How you say it? It's PHO. Is it pho?
Yeah, they call it fog.
Fog?
Yeah. Fog.
Where's the G come from?
That's how they say it. It's how my wife calls it. Do you want some fog? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Some rain and some hail that goes with the fog. Okay, so
Yeah.
they also have solid foot that is Chinese style spearmen
Yeah.
or halberdiers. So that's a couple of solid blades as well, or solid ox. Got to help you. And then 2 more Chinese style crossbowmen or archers, so they could be solid crossbowmen or Saloy. There's your 3 locals, your
Yeah.
3 stands of the fast warband. That's the local troops. And then again, 2 units that can either be fast bow, fast crossbowmen, or Saloy, and then 2 Saloy. So the C and the D lists are similar in that it's just a difference of having a elephant general and what Chinese style spearmen you want to model or use in the case of depending on what time period you're trying to model. If you were doing the D list, I would probably tend to use maybe some Tang or some Dynasty blades and crossbowmen to go with them, and you know. But now the A, B, and C list have no allies.
Right. But
The D list can
call
have
on their brothers from the south.
can call on their brothers from the south. They've got the Khmer and the Cham, right?
Yep.
Is it
Yep.
Cham and Champa?
It's both. It's both these two.
Okay. Well, the Cham is the Champa might be lumped in with Cham
It's
as well.
Cham.
Okay. Yeah.
And kind
So
of-
that's a way to get even more elephants if you want to
Yep.
go crazy, because they got what, mandatory
Because
elephant.
they have both of
Both of
both
those
of
have
them
an
have an
elephant
elephant
general?
general.
Okay, so that's a way to get another elephant into your army. I mean, not that elephants are all powerful and almighty, but they're cool to paint. You know, I mean, that's, you know.
and they actually both have an extra elephant. So the majority would be your favorite of 4 ox on the one.
Oh, dear God.
But you could have 2 elephants.
Okay.
And then the other one could be 2 elephants and again your favorite of 4 ox.
Okay. So you're going to get stuck with one of the elephant. You're going to get stuck with both of those having an elephant general.
But
He
you
doesn't
could-
behave as the elephant, but an elephant
That'd be-
and a 4 ox.
That'd be cool to run them on the flank because your ox would be out in the where he could sit out on the flank. And then
Why's he
2
got to be on the
elephants-
flank? Why can't he be in the center?
'cause no, you don't want to
You don't have to play the way he does.
Turn the allies loose.
Hey, we just filmed a live video, and you'll see whether you want to listen to him or not after you watch those battles. So, anyhow. No, it's cool,
Yeah.
and nobody. I've never seen anybody do that army.
Yeah.
You know, And you could probably, fudge it and do some of those items. It's cool. It's a big incentive for me is to build an army that someone else doesn't have. So, I'm...
But you could get rid of solid ox.
No, you just take blade instead of them.
Get rid of the...
Yeah, you can just take blade instead of them. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's early Vietnamese. A cool list.
Yep.
You just have to fudge some of the figures, so. And, the worst thing about Asian armies, I'll tell you right now, is their flags. Asian armies suck when it comes to flags. Because there's several people that I know, and I've communicated with on Facebook that are familiar with that stuff. The samurai ones are okay. But the Chinese flags are terrible. They have really cool shapes and really cool colors, but then they have a character that says, this is the dynasty of Shang, or this is something. So it doesn't have like a cool tiger or a dragon or anything like that. So, I mean, of course you could just make that up on your own if you wanted to, but if you're trying to be, realistic, that's the only thing that's kind of lacking is, it hasn't kept me from doing them, but, it is kind of a bummer that they don't have more interesting flags. I believe the Vietnamese one is just, it has the little strands coming off of it in different directions, and I think it's those Buddhist type colors.
Yeah.
So you've got like the yellow, the red, and the
Real
blue.
big on yellow
And the
red.
blue. Are they?
Yeah.
They're really big on
Yellows and
yellow.
reds.
What are you trying to say?
Just saying.
Okay. Yeah, so they're
Reds-
cool, really cool.
Red and yellow seem to be lucky.
Yeah, really cool.
Japanese.
Okay, we ready to go to the next one?
164.
Okay.
Early Japanese.
No, you're jumping around.
You
You
want
gotta
to
go
hit
down
them?
this list.
You want to hit them all?
Yeah, well, you better freaking hit them all.
Okay.
So 143, early who? Who?
Who?
Yeah. Why did we skip over that one? Oh, because you went to this, you jumped on the Vietnamese and we weren't
Yeah.
ready to do that yet. We're still doing China. Oh, folks, look what we got here. So that's why I have trust issues.
Aha.
Okay, 143, early who?
Who?
So who are these guys?
Who?
Who? They're the Huns.
Oh.
Yeah, they're the Scythians, the one over there. They're the Proto-Huns. So that is book 143B, and Cav General, and another Cav if it's who. They don't get the knights that the Scythians can have, and 8 light horse, and then another light horse, and then 2 more light horse or Saloy or solid ox or auxilia. So pretty much just running around like a maniac. They're Scythian type, but those guys. I don't know if you could use Scythian figures for them. I really haven't looked into them much, but I imagine you could probably use a mixture of like Scythian figures and maybe some Huns or something like that to give them kind of a more Asian look. But I don't think I've encountered anybody that used that army. I mean, that's not exactly glowing with excitement,
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, back to China. What's the next thing on the China list?
It jumps up to book 2 then?
Book 2, Warring States Chinese.
Warring
Yeah,
States.
there you go. This is the time period of the Terracotta Warriors. Lots of people make these figures. Lots of people make these figures. So this is subdivided. I'm not going to go in through all the lists, but it's subdivided in several of the nations. We got the first one, which is the Qin, which is the Terracotta Warriors, first guy that united China. That's where China gets their name from that dynasty. Yue, Chao, others, which is many different ones that aren't mentioned there, and the others fall into 2 different periods. The earlier period, which is 480 through 356 BC, and 355 through 202 BC. So the Qin basically they all have a couple of heavy chariots, some mounted troops, some shooters, so 3 to 4 shooters, usually in the crossbow variety. But the main difference is what the foot is of these armies. In the Qin dynasty, the foot is warband, solid warband. Your favorite, right? Yeah, 4 of them. In the Yue, their main is halberdiers that are fast pikemen. Okay, so they've got a group of 4 fast pikemen. They can actually have more than that if they want to, but they're mandatory having fast pikemen. And the Chow
Solid blade.
There's our solid blade, 4 solid blade, or solid ox if you really.
Your favorite.
If you're a sadist, you know. And other Chinese armies end up having. The early one ends up having fast pike as well, a mixture of some war bands as well, and the later one, other Chinese armies, is a really cool list because it can have some solid crossbowmen, it can have some solid blades, a fast blade, it can have even more solid blades. That's a pretty darn good army. Book 243E, other Chinese armies. Now, who makes them? Chariot makes them, which is Magister Militum. Gladiator makes them. Essex makes them. I want to say the company that Lurkio makes them. That's a pretty common army. Now you as far as a manufacturer for an Asian army, lots of people make them because of the terracotta warriors and so forth. Now,
No allies.
no allies? Yeah, they don't want to make any friends. So
We got this.
yeah, all those are good armies. You probably run them all in open and do fine in them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're worried about that kind of thing. But that's what we're probably going to say for all the Asian armies, except for those Hu guys. You know, you've got. They all have lots of tools, lots of different elements. They all balance really well. You got to be a little creative, maybe finding out who makes figures for them. But for the most part, just about all the armies are good. So these guys are good. I happen to have the Qin army. I built them in 2009, I think, and I love them. They look great. You know, they're from Gladiator.
I got the Shao.
You got the Chow?
Yeah.
Okay, look, Museum makes figures to them as well. So if we leave somebody off, you know, it's. Hey, this is totally impromptu. I just decided, hey, you know, somebody asked about Asian armies, and we're both here, and we love Asian armies.
Yep, yep.
What's your favorite thing about Asian armies?
The food. No, that's the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and nobody plays them, and you get to make
Yeah.
funny voices when you play
There
them.
you go.
You know, so
There you go.
anyhow. Okay.
Or 221.
221. Okay, this is an army that I've never seen anybody play. Why is that? Nobody makes figures for them, I don't think. Chang and Tea Chinese. Well, there's more than just that, okay? Because Chang and Tea is the A and the B list, and earlier and later, but then C is a former Qin Chinese army. Now, it gets really confusing. That's not actually the same Qin dynasty of the Terracotta Warriors, because he went in there, wiped the floor, took out all the other warring states, set up his kingdom, and it was good for a while until he died. And then his son took over and everything went to shit. So, yes, he united all of China for his lifetime and a few years of his son, and then it all fell apart again in a different parts. But this former Qin that's in the book 221 is not the same Terracotta Qin army, because this actually happens after the Han Dynasty and everything. So, because the chronology of within China, anyways, is you got Shia, then you got Shang, then you've got the Spring and Autumn period, then it rolls into the Warring States, because the Spring and Autumn period did have some earlier Warring State stuff as well. Then Warring States period that we just went over with the Terracotta, they unite everything for a few years, and then it falls apart. The Han take over. They build the Han Dynasty, which was in power for a long time. And then the Han eventually fall apart through the stuff, if you're familiar with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Split into Three Kingdoms, there's actually a three-kingdom list. I'm a big fan of the Three Kingdoms folklore stuff. It's kind of a comic. You don't know anything about it, but it's they make video games and all that kind of stuff about it. It's an interesting period of literature and stuff like that with semi-historical stuff. And then that actually falls apart as well, and one of the kingdoms that comes from that is this former Qin. But I digress. See, Asian armies are really interesting. You just gotta, look. The biggest thing to overcome is the spelling thing. So it gets a little confusing sometimes. But okay, A list: Chang and Tea Chinese Army. So what do we got here, Mitch?
Not a whole lot of mounted again, but a lot of crappy auxiliary on the A list.
A lot of crappy auxiliary. Okay. So these are a couple of tribes that are kind of on the fringe of China. So you might be able to use figures for this. Essex makes Chinese barbarian guys that would probably be useful for doing some of this stuff. Yeah, that's the first list that runs 315 BC through 302 AD, which is actually kind of a big section there. Almost, what is it, 600 years? Over 600 years during operating that. Then the B list, where do they at?
They get a knight finally.
Hey, there you go.
They still got a lot of crappy auxiliary.
Well, they have one other mounted element, right? They got a
one
knight.
cab, one knight.
Well, they have a light horse too.
Knight general.
Okay.
Or it could be, it's either a cab or a light horse.
Okay. Their heavy hitters are a couple of elements of solid auxilia.
Woo!
Yay! And then 5 elements of fast auxilia.
Come on, boys.
And then 3 archers, which is 3 bow and Ursuloi.
But
Not too bad. Now you got former Chin. Yeah, the C list.
They're starting to get into it.
That's actually an interesting list.
Yeah, because they can actually go into blades in there.
They can have a knight or a cataphract.
Yeah.
And then another knight.
Yep.
A light horse.
2 solid ox, your favorite, or solid blade.
Go with a solid blade.
Go with the blade.
Yeah.
Because you can also have 2 solid crossbow and the blade can help them out.
There you go. 3 fast auxilia.
At least you got the blade.
And another fast bow or soloi, and then
Yeah.
mandatory soloi.
Yeah.
Aggression 3 hilly.
Yeah.
They actually have some allies, right?
They do. They do have a couple allies.
238B, who's that?
38 was,
Oh, Southern Xiongnu, you have them.
Yes.
It's almost like
So
I
you
should
could
build my
actually-
army.
You could actually pick up a hell of a lot because the southern Hugh are all mounted, pretty much.
Southern Xiongnu, they've got some auxilia and stuff.
They got a couple bow guys, but they got a crap load of mounted.
You know the cool thing? They fight them too. I should build them next.
There you go. They'll go next.
Yeah, you never won with the Southern Xiongnu anyways.
Yeah,
Right?
they're hard.
Somebody commented actually, has Mitch ever won with that army?
It's hard.
I'm not against me, didn't.
It's hard.
They're cool, but they're hard.
That's one of the.
That's your Turks.
Hey, that's the one army I got a tie with.
Is it?
One of my ties is that army.
Winners.
I'll call that a win with them.
That's not a loss.
Nope, it wasn't a loss. It was a win.
That's actually a cool list. And you could probably make those guys from Essex. Essex has a relatively new range that's Northern and Southern Dynasties army. You could use them for some of those cataphracts. They would mix in just fine.
Uh-huh.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this army, if you look at the history, they built like a really big army and they went in one battle and they just, I forget who they fought. They fought someone and they just beat the living shit out of them and just catastrophically over, I want to say it's a River Fay. It's some river that they fought and this guy tried to cross it and did not fare well. But there's a famous, it's not famous because people in the West really don't know it, but there was one particular battle where these guys went in and got massacred. So the nice thing about an army is you build that, and if you get massacred, it's like, just like real life. It's, that's what happened, You can just blow it off. That's why it's build guys that are losers in real life, because then you'll do better than them.
Low expectations.
Yeah, but it's a decent army list. Yeah.
229.
229, Tian and Kunming. Okay. Tian and Kunming.
They're kind of.
So these guys are barbarians in the southwest of China. Barbarians meaning because they don't really have you guys don't know who they are. That's why they're barbarians. There you go.
They're a slow army.
They're a slow army. They have a cab general, a blade, a solid blade, or a light horse, or a fast warband, and then they got 2 more solid blade, 6 fast pikemen. Interesting.
The Alexander of this time.
Guaranteed, those are made out of bamboo. Actually, these are kind of the same time period, the same area that my Nanchao are in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know if you could use my Nanchao fast pikemen for those guys. Well, you'd have to make them solid, but.
Yeah.
And then a crossbowman or a Saloy, fast crossbowman, and a Saloy. It's not too bad an army list. You just don't have a lot of fast troops.
8 units are woofing it.
Yeah, but oh, they're solid pike.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and not freight train.
Yeah.
This is like, we're coming to get you. We'll be there. Just wait. We're coming.
Hold on a second. Okay. I don't know that anybody makes figures for them. But you could probably use some of those barbarians from Essex to do that. Chinese barbarian list. Okay, here's a big one.
Yes, my favorite.
Is it?
241.
Well, you should have the army. How come you don't have your army if it's your favorite?
It's not the favorite, but...
Han Chinese.
Hi.
As in Han Solo.
Hi.
That's when you play with them by yourself. Han Solo.
Mitch and I, both lists.
So, Western Han, Eastern Han. So here's the interesting about Western Han and Eastern Han. They're both the Han Dynasty, and the reason why it's Western and Eastern depends on where the capital of the Han Dynasty was located. They didn't both happen at the same time. I forget exactly what happened, but there was a natural disaster, or they got attacked, or somewhere where they had to move the army. They had to move it to the east. I believe one of the locations is Shan'an, and the other one is Luoyang. But they moved the capital, and they moved it to the west. I'm sorry, they moved it to the east. So I have a feeling it's barbarians. I have a feeling it's Huns came in and caused all kinds of problems.
Usually is.
Yeah, it usually is that kind of thing. So, they got some heavy hitters, man.
Yeah.
They got a lot of shooters in both armies,
Yep.
including my favorite 8 crossbowmen.
Crossbowmen.
Yeah, I don't like deep crossbowmen. I love how they look, but it's a good way to lose the game with that first one causing 2. What you got going on there?
Listen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have both of those lists, right? From
Yep.
Essex.
Yep, both of them.
Lurkio also makes them. Who else makes them? Magister Militum, the old chariot line, and lots of people. Han, it's a common army to have. It's a common army to have. So they can have a fair amount mounted,
Yeah.
and what they're lacking is sometimes they're lacking some heavy foot. I believe the A list doesn't have any.
No. Wait.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the most heavy they could have is
Right.
8 crossbowmen.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's basically mounted and shooters
Yeah.
for the most part. You can have an artillery piece though, which is kind of unusual in Asian armies. It's kind of unusual. There's
Yeah.
not that many that have that. So
Yeah.
if that's what you want, if you're fighting a bunch of shooters, yeah, you want Uncle Arnie at your side.
Yeah.
And then the Eastern army, they
Eastern.
settle down a little bit more.
Got
They've
some
got,
solid
they can
people.
have some solid blades to protect those 3 solid crossbowmen.
Yeah.
Um,
And they get an artillery piece. And guess what? They can have the southern Honda's Airlines. The B list.
Well,
B
that's-
list is like, we got this.
so remember the Mulan cartoon?
Yeah.
Not the movie, the cartoon. The
Yes.
good one.
The good one.
The good
Yes.
one, right? The first one.
Yep.
So that's what these guys are supposed to be.
There you go.
And because the Huns are the ones that attacked them, these guys started building that wall. It's like, these guys won't leave us alone. We got to build a freaking wall. That kind of stuff. Actually, the first emperor started building the wall, and he didn't like people that he didn't like what people wrote, so he burned a lot of books. And I don't like how that guy wrote about me. So he buried him inside the wall.
Woo. Tough guy.
Yeah.
Tough critics.
We get some interesting armies here. Book 261, Shangpi, Wuhan, Khitan, and Shia. Or Shi. HSI. That should be Shi. Book 261. These are horsey armies. And these are the Proto-Mongol type folks that are like that. As a matter of fact, the first list, 261A, is damn near all mounted, except you have to have a Saloy. So you got one guy, it's like, hey, wait for me, wait for me. The B list is probably the most solid of all the armies, and it has a really interesting element, or a couple of elements. It has the cataphract general. It has 2 more cataphracts or knights. It has 4 light horse or deep cav. Deep cav, okay? Or dust throwing women with banners mounted on oxen.
That gets them every time. Where they at? I hear them, I can't see them.
Hey, couldn't you just mount them on a horde stand and just put like a big dust cloud and move that around?
Yeah.
That's the women on the oxen.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah.
You can't see them.
And then they have 2 solid blades, 2 solid crossbowmen, and a savoy.
Yeah. There you go.
That's
a
not a bad
cool,
army.
That's kind of an interesting army.
They can have an ally too. Who's 221?
221.
Oh, the former Chin, those guys that they got hosed in that battle.
Formerly taken on the Chin.
Okay. I should build that army.
That's interesting. I like to see you do all those women.
Just dust cloud. Just dust cloud. Well, they don't make figures of of women going, throwing up dust like, you get out of here, Yeah, it's a cool list. It's a really cool list.
Yeah.
61C, other Shempi, or Tu Yu Hun army. That one's kind of interesting too. It's got a lot of mounted.
Yeah, it's all pretty much except the Savoy.
It's got like up to 4 cataphracts, including the general.
Yeah.
And 5 light horse. And then you run into having only 2 ox and a Savoy, so you don't have holders,
Yeah.
All of them are actually a steppe army, except the one with the women throwing dust in the air.
Yeah.
I guess you have to settle down to have women in your army, I guess. I don't know.
We're not going over there.
It's arable, so I have a feeling that they went in and they conquered some territory and were kind of, sitting around in that area. So, and then the last one is the Khitan or Shi army. That one is basically all mounted, light horse and a few cav, that kind of thing. So, you could probably use some Proto-Mongol type figures for these guys. I don't know that anybody makes these guys in particular. You'll just have to fudge these guys in between some southern Xiongnu figures and some Huns and that kind of stuff. So that army is 317 through 431 AD. The one that has that's the other. The Mujung, which is the one that looks like a heavy hitter, it's 300 through 431 AD. So you could use those NUSX figures from Northern and Southern Dynasties for the cataphracts and stuff like that. They're actually nice looking figures for that.
3 Kingdoms.
Is that where we're at right now?
263.
What's your favorite 3 Kingdom? What, are you trying to read it?
Yeah, I was trying to see what they got in there.
You found
Hey, they got a war wagon.
Are you a fan of Wei or Wu or Shu?
They got a
Or Shuhan?
They got a war wagon.
They do. This is a cool army. This is a cool army. It's aggression 1, and can have some war wagons and an artillery piece. I should build them.
That's
I would have already built them if I had the figure. Nobody made figures for them when I was going to morph them until a couple of years ago, and Lurkio makes figures for them.
Oh, do they know?
Yeah, they do. They do. So,
Where
and they
they
actually make a general. Who?
Where's Warkio on it?
I want to say the UK. They make a figure that looks like Guan Yu. No, not Guan Yu. Zhao Fei. Anyways, if you guys know what the 3 Kingdoms is, check it out. They got some cool figures on there. But yeah, you'll have to fudge the war wagon. In my case, I'd use the ones that
3D built.
that he made.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob. I was gonna say Scott. Nope, not the Rob. Yeah. Anyhow, cool list. It's got some mounted. It's got heavy foot. It's got a solid ox. It's got a mandatory solid ox. So it's 1. That's not that bad. And some shooters as well. So
279.
279 Northern and Southern Dynasties. So this is an army that I have. I have the southern one from the original book, and then they nerfed them and took my damn elephant away. Pretty much. Okay. And both of them are good lists. They're, they have no elephant, but
The B list has a.
the B list
war
have war
wagon.
wagons, yeah. Something different.
Yeah.
They're not bad. They're not bad lists, either one of them. I think I've morphed the A one several times and just got my ass kicked. Just for bad luck, because there's nothing wrong with that army.
Yeah.
Essex makes both of them now. Their figures are only 2 or 3 years old. They're relatively new, so they look pretty good.
Yeah. Got a little bit of everything in these, especially the A list. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one can be almost all mounted.
I think it's one of those deals that you have to go either all mounted or half foot.
Book 320. Still sitting in China, folks. Idling in China.
320 is the Sioux.
Sway.
Sway. Yeah.
Sway is how you say it.
I like say
Well, it's more fun going, woo-wee!
Sway.
Yeah, and then they all come a-running, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Almost like it's Newton Light.
Yes.
Okay, Shui
Yep.
and early Tang.
Yes.
So the Shui list is the A list. It's pretty much a standard list. It's a damn good list.
Huh.
Pretty much has a little bit of everything. Combined arms to the max. The B list Shui is the Million Man Army.
I have that.
Okay, the Million Man Army is the army that they took to invade Koguryo and got their ass beat severely by Koguryo, and then they had to come back with the Tang, and then the Tang eventually did knock the Koguryo out.
They could do the tank.
You could do the Tang.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all three of those are good lists.
Yeah.
Even though one of them can have 6 solid horde, it's really interesting playing with 6 solid horde because they don't count.
It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. So,
Look like that.
yeah.
39.
Who makes figures for them?
I don't know. You know that.
Essex.
There you go.
Kurosan makes some. Outpost Wargame Services makes them as well. I've got some of those in my Tang army.
Huh.
Minifigs makes them as well. But some of these were made a long time ago, and they're supposedly the figures are not accurate, not as accurate as that they could be. So supposedly the most accurate ones are probably the Kurosan ones, so, or the Outpost Wargame Services one. So
Then we got later Tang.
later Tang,
339.
339. This is where my elephant went.
Aha.
My elephant that got stolen from it showed up here in this list.
Ah.
And this is the army Zhou has. Zhou has these guys, and he likes them.
Cool. Because it can be 2, 2, 2, 2.
It can be 2 of this, or 2 of this, or 2 of this, or 2 of this.
Very
And they have a fair number of allies, including
Yeah.
Tibetans,
Yes.
including Nanchao.
Oh, everybody.
Yep, a little bit of everything. So that's a good list. It's aggression 1, late Tang, or 5 dynasties. Yeah. Cool.
357, Kurio.
350, you mean 356?
Oh, 56.
Kite and Lyle.
Wow.
Kite and Lyle. Kite and Lyle is a knight type army. These guys were originally guys that came in they lived on the outskirts of China and came in and just kind of set up their little their kingdom. But they have a choice to be knight or cav, and
Yeah.
they've got some heavy foot as well. Aggression 2, they're a steppe army, and fight quite a few guys.
Yeah.
I have that army, believe it or not, from Essex. You know who else makes them? Naismith. Naismith makes figures for Nanchao, for Kite and Lyle, and but a lot of them are based on the old Armies and Enemies of Ancient China book that came out many years ago, like 40 years ago, and has a lot of incorrect inaccurate stuff on there based by today's standards. So
And they have knowledge.
it's not going to keep me from building them. I already have the figures that were done by them, so maybe I'll get around to doing that at some point. Some Chinese,
Yep.
my favorite. So this was a list that actually was book 361 in the original 2.2, but now it went to 262 because they added another army in the mix. I want to say it's the Zhang revolt, which is a Middle Eastern slave revolt against the Abbasids. So they added that list in there. So it bumped everything after that came after where that list got added up one number. So some Chinese are now 362. They're broken down into A or B. The A list is a high aggression and has a lot of shooters and not enough infantry really to block for them. But they can have the later Tang as allies, so they have a way of getting that elephant in there. And Southern Sung is can have 2 artillery pieces. I have them, so
And uses them.
yeah. Oh well, you know me, I like artillery. Worst case scenario, you still get to make fun, childish noises when you fire them off. You know, so childish. A kid can't do that. Jeez.
It's the Jurchen.
Jurchen, you have them, right?
Yes.
From
lists.
Coruscant.
Both lists.
Both lists, A and B?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my top favorite armies, A list. Both of them really, but A
You
list
really
is
do
better.
like knights, don't you?
I do like the A list.
Yeah. Coruscant makes them. And they're nice looking figures. They're really nice looking figures. So, yeah. And,
They just have Mongol elders.
well, the funny thing is, you know what isn't listed on here? The next list in the book here, which is Karakitan. And they should be considered an Orient army. That's what they turned into. That's what the Khitan Lyo turned into afterwards. So, yeah, it was formed by Khitan refugees fleeing the Jurchen conquest. So your Jurchen came in here and caused a lot of trouble for those Khitan Lyo, and then these guys ran away and started joining this army. So, what else we got on there?
448.
For who?
448.
448, Yuan Chinese, also known as Kublai Khan's army. So you're going to have Mongol horses, Mongol-looking horses for these guys. The foot can be maybe Sung, maybe a combination of Sung and some Mongols, that kind of stuff. But you know, they came in, took out the northern part of China. They took out the Jurchen and set up his base up there on the other side of the river, and fought the Sung, and beat the Sung, you know, eventually. So, yeah, that's the, and then Ming. Ming, which is a very similar army list to the Sung, in that they can have 2 artillery pieces, and can they have 2 artillery pieces? They used to be able to have 2 artillery pieces. They sure as hell can.
Yeah.
They've got some shooters. They've got some foot to defend them. Not a ton of heavy foot, but they've got some shooters and some mounted. So, Ming Dynasty, Old Glory makes them. There's a company called Kensington that used to make them. They're very difficult to get a hold of. I'm not sure if they're even able to be gotten a hold of. And I'm not sure if anybody else makes a Ming. It might escape me who that might be, but yeah.
And the Chinese borderlands.
Yeah, so that's it for China. I'm going to take a drink.
238.
Sun New and Huan.
Yes, I have the southern.
Yeah, we did this. We did the barbarians already.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is just basically Huns.
There's Nanchao.
These are basically Huns, and the Southern Sun New is Huns with some ass behind them because they can have cataphracts and stuff like that. And 3 fast auxiliary, that's actually quite a bit. And they can have 3 bowmen.
Yeah, so I was running with the bow.
Do you?
No, 1 bowman.
Maybe
Oh,
that's-
they can have 3. Oh,
they
they
can
have
have
3
3.
ox and 1 bow. That's how I run them.
You shouldn't run them however you're running them again because you always seem to lose with them.
It's the best. It's a 6-leg course.
Hey, you know what we should do soon? You should play the Southern Sun Noon. I'll play all their enemies.
Oh.
No?
Oh. 21B. Who is 21B?
Chang and Tea.
Yeah. Ooh, you'd be stuck with all that ox.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, where does that leave us next?
Then go to
Nanchao.
Nanchao.
Nanchao. Well, what else can you
You're
say?
in trouble now.
You're in
gonna
trouble
get to
now.
Nanchao.
Now you wake up the Nanchao. Yeah.
Yep.
Eureka Miniatures. They make Nanchao, and they're absolutely beautiful figures. I happen to know one of my favorite armies that I have. They've got a core of some fast pike or fast auxiliary. They can be either one. And yeah, great army and beautiful figures by Eureka. Shia.
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 Or is it Shia?
Yes.
Is it Shia? Shia?
It's actually Shia.
Ah, Shia.
Shia.
That's where they came up with that commercial.
It could have been.
They got a nice.
Their army used to be even nicer in previous versions.
They have a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. The thing they're lacking the most is you got to find something useful for those too damn fast, solid ox to do. Nobody makes dedicated Shia figures. They have a lot of the background from Tibet, so you could probably use some Tibetan foot for the foot elements in that army. But I think a mixture between different manufacturers. And I actually was going to I have all the figures set aside to build this army back in 2.2. So now it's totally different.
Going to the Korea Peninsula, 275.
Okay, so 275, 276, 277 were considered three kingdoms Korea, and that's Pachiki and Kaya, Koguryo and Shilla. Shilla lasted all the way till the end. They all were fighting each other, and Koguryo was on the northern border, so it was up to them to kind of defend the Chinese incursions. And it worked good for a while until it didn't. So at that point, it was just the Shilla that ended up fighting off or trying to stave off Italian conquest. But those three lists are book 2. They're very high book 2 lists.
Yep, 275.
I have Koguryo, but it's for the previous iteration of the rules, so they're not really very useful. But those figures were all made by Kurusan. Kurusan makes those guys. My guys were originally by Elaine Toulaire. They claimed to be Koguryo, but upon further inspection, they have a lot of things that are out of place time-wise. They've got their foot from the Mongol invasion, and they've got the cataphracts from the earlier time period here. So it's just kind of a mishmash, but they're cool lists. So, but Kurosan just came out with figures for them a couple of years ago, so check them out. What else you got?
357. Korea.
Koryo, you got those guys.
Yep.
With a hot dog stand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Come
a
and
little
get
war
it.
wagon that goes around. That's the Mongol invasion Koreans.
Choice from hell.
So, yeah, they have a choice of hell. You can have this unit or this unit or this one. You'd like to have all of them.
Get 3 pike and Saloy. It's like, whoa, I gotta get them all.
Only if you're a cheater.
Yeah, cheater. 478.
So Koryo, your figures are from Naismith.
Yeah.
Who else makes Koryo? I want to say that Kurosan has in their Mongol range, they have foot that would be useful for Koryo because they're literally Korean foot at the same time period. But yeah, they were conquered by the Mongols. So.
And then 478.
478 Yi Dynasty Koreans. These are the Koreans that were in Korea when Japan unified at the end of the 1500s and towards the end of the 1500s and said, okay, whose ass are we going to kick now that we're all united? So they went to Korea. So, yeah.
Basic Army.
What's that?
The last cream.
Yeah. Okay.
Japan, early
Japan.
Japanese.
Early Japanese are made by
1964.
Khorasan. That's the army that Musashi painted. The one army he's painted. He's painted other things, but in recent history.
Ah,
Yeah.
they
So,
got quite a
what's that?
they got quite a range of different
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. They're A, B, and C list. This is another one that it's a book one, but it goes the C list goes all the way to 500 AD. So these are the early Japanese, even before the early samurai. They're the list just before the early samurai. So they didn't have those figures for the longest time. Khorasan came out with them. I've seen them. They look really nice. So yeah, check that out. Everybody likes Japanese.
3-6.
Amishi. I want to say Boeda makes Amishi. Yes, Boeda actually makes figures, but they make Amishi, I believe.
And 3-7 pre-samurai Japanese.
What does the Amishi consist of?
Well, the
A crap ton of
yeah,
archers?
it's like one extreme list. And
So the early list is we're all archers or a shitload of Saloy.
Or
The
we go
late
to
one
B-list
is
where
all
all
light
mounted.
horse. Yeah. So they turn it almost like
Extremes.
Huns or something like that. Very
One-
similar army.
One
list.
extreme to the other.
Yep.
Then 3-7 is pre-samurai Japanese. So we got couple.
Oh, you know what? Those early Japanese, there may not be figures for them. And these pre-samurai Japanese are actually the ones from. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. That actually may be the Khorasan figures, or maybe the other one. We'll have to look into it more. But
But one,
Hmm?
they don't cover the same. It's
no,
not-
I forget. Khorasan makes one period or the other. I don't remember which one they do.
Uh-huh.
But you might be able to use one and the other one at the same time. So it just depends. So.
Uh-huh.
But check out Khorasan. They got some cool stuff there. Early Samurai, book 355. We have a lot of auxilia, a lot of fast auxilia.
Yeah.
At the time, lots of people make samurai, but for this early period, there's a rumor that Khorasan's going to make some. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I just heard about it in the last couple of days because somebody was asking who makes figures for the early samurai. And Eureka was, I believe it was their first custom 300 group where you could sign up for and make your custom figures. I believe that was the first one that they did on that. And on the early samurai. They may not have been done that way, but I know that back when I started getting into 50s, well, my buddy Jeff, he built the early samurai army. It was one of like this first or second army that he did. What, you called him?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez. Khorasan makes a Mishi now. Okay, that's great. Yeah. I have never bought Khorasan figures. I don't have anything against them, but it's what I told somebody is they showed up on the scene 10 years too late. See, by the time those 10 years had passed, I had collected so much lead that I can't justify buying more, really. I mean, if I want to say, build an army that I don't have that I have some of the figures for, yeah, I'll go ahead and add a few to supplement. But yeah, I don't need to order stuff from them. Not because their stuff isn't any good. I just have too much stuff.
Oh.
Now we go to Southeast Asia. We already talked about the early
Oh,
Vietnamese.
did you talk about post-Mongol samurai?
No, we didn't. We skipped over that. The samurai everybody thinks of. Everybody makes post-Mongol samurai. That's the warring states You see the trend here? There's warring states in China, in Korea, and Japan. Why can't they all just get along?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the unification. The Essex figures are for that. The Peter Pig figures are for that, which are absolutely gorgeous. And that's what my army is. You have one of those late ones, and so do I.
Oh yeah.
So is Luke have one too?
Yes.
So we can have a three-way samurai battle.
There you go.
Okay.
Last
Three-way
standing.
Samurai three-way. You know. Yeah, post-Mongol samurai. The problem with that army list is it has 5 elements that can either be like fast blade. Well, that wouldn't be a problem, but you know, horde or fast pike.
Deep cab.
You know, yeah, they can have deep cav or not also.
Oh yeah.
That's the one everybody thinks about is the post-Mongol samurai. That's the ones that are in the late 1400s, 1500s list. Southeast Asia, we did early Vietnam.
Yep. Burmese.
3-9. Can you say elephants? Joe has that army.
Ooh.
No, does he? No. No, he's got Khmer and Chang.
Yep. He does not have Burmese, but he's got Khmer and Chang.
What's Burmese have?
Oh, elephants.
Is it scary?
The elephant leader,
Mm-hmm.
a cab, 6 fast ox,
Lovely.
3 fast bow or crossbow,
Mm-hmm.
and 1 either another fast bow, crossbow, or saloy.
Okay.
The B list has an elephant, general, or cab, 2 elephants, another cab, 3 fast ox, another fast ox or fast blade, a crossbow, 2 fast crossbow or bows.
Those are the guys that I believe have the elephants that they have almost like these contraptions, almost like sitting planks on the side where they would carry like 10 or 15 guys on the elephant or whatever. It's actually listed in there.
Uh-huh.
You know, so this like looks really wacky, almost like they're riding this school bus is coming by and it's an elephant.
2 elephants with large crew or escorts.
There you go.
Escorts.
Hey!
Hey! You want an elephant? I got an elephant. Oh.
Me love you long time.
Yeah.
Escorts.
Escorts. And then 323 Khmer Cham,
Right.
which Joe has.
Joe has. They have the unique thing where they have an artillery piece that's mounted on the back of an elephant.
Which he
Gets
has.
treated just like a regular artillery piece. It's not. It just happens to be on an elephant. You know, it doesn't even move like an elephant. It moves like an artillery piece. So.
Does anybody make Burmese or the Khmer Cham?
Burmese. Who makes Burmese? Oh man. I want to say regular makes them. Outpost War Game Services makes them, I believe. Same thing with the Khmer. Khmer's also made by a couple of those different people as well. Yeah, medieval Vietnamese.
Yep.
Here's the medieval Vietnamese.
Yeah,
list.
well, they get
360.
2 elephants.
Is this the one you like?
Yeah, this is a pretty cool army.
Okay.
Because they got 2 elephants, one of them being a general, and then they can have a solid blade, a solid crossbow or bow, 4 solid ox,
Ooh, how cool is that?
3 saloy, and a warband or a saloy.
Okay, aggression 2.
Yeah, Trapo. Can't we just all
Yeah.
get along?
Again, nobody makes figures for those guys, so you're kind of on your own. Indonesian and Malayan.
Yeah.
Malay.
Huh. Yes. Again, we got a lot of elephants. Except for the Java dudes. Oh, they get a war wagon. Oh, or an elephant. Ooh.
One of those guys can have a ceremonial something or another, doesn't it? Ceremonial general and ceremonial chariot with foot guards. It's a command wagon or on an elephant. I'll rather be on an elephant.
Yeah.
I'd rather be on an elephant. So those figures are made. All those lists. There's a company called Grumpy, and Eureka in Australia carries them, and they actually make melee figures. And if the pictures are online are accurate, I think they look pretty good. You know, so
Even the war wagon?
they don't make one. You have to pull it out of your nether regions.
Oh boy. Siamese 440.
I've looked at this army to do it. It's a pretty kick-ass army.
There's a twins. Siamese twins.
No.
Aha.
So this army can have it. We faced this army at Historicon.
Yep.
It has an elephant general, another elephant, and then either a cav or a fast blade, and then 6 warriors. It can either be fast warband, or fast auxilia, or fast blade. Durr.
I faced him as fast blade. This is a fun game.
Yeah. Siamese, made by Khorasan. Yeah, and they look really nice. And last but not least, Tibetans. Everybody makes those guys.
What?
Mm-hmm. Minifigs makes them. Essex makes them.
Wow.
Khorasan makes them. The Khorasan ones are the ones that get though. They look really, really nice. So they definitely look nice. So anyhow, let's see if we got some questions before I fall asleep here. It's been an hour and 15 minutes, so I can't take it much longer. But
this is bedtime.
I would think a cannon recoil would lock the elephant out. It's not a cannon. It's actually a torsion crossbow. It's like a big crossbow that's on the back of the elephant. So, you just park the elephant near a pile of the big bolts, and the elephant just hands it up to you guys up there. No, it's a really big elephant. If you do an image search for, there's a book by Osprey called War Elephant, and I believe there's a drawing in there of the Khmer using that. So yeah, it just looks like an elephant, but it doesn't behave like an elephant at all. It moves just like an artillery piece.
Yeah.
It can't go into combat. It's just kind of neat,
Cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of neat. So, but anyhow, thanks for stopping by. And Asian armies are fun, or I should say, Oriental armies are fun. Oh, see who gets upset about that?
Oops.
Hey, that's what it's listed in the book. Can't be wrong, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, of all those armies, what's your favorite one?
Probably my
Your Koryo?
no, the oh my goodness.
Tibetans?
No, the
Jurchen Chin.
Jurchen.
Okay.
Yep. The A-list.
The A-list, because it's got knights.
Yep. And foot guys and everything. It's got the works.
Yeah.
It's got the works.
Anthony Holton loves Asian armies. Thank you. You're welcome. We love them too.
Yep.
They're cool. They're cool. They're cool looking. They have good army compositions. You're probably not going to find somebody that also brought one, like in a tournament or something like that. And now there's enough different varieties of figures that you can kind of make them up as you go. We certainly like them. I have 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, glad you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time, and
enjoy.
Yeah, check out our videos of the video that we did earlier today. Right?
That's right.
Okay. All right then. Until next time, we should be on tomorrow. Do a DBN battle, and then we'll do a little question and answer thing on with the 3 of us, a little round table between you, Joe, and myself.
Sounds good.
So, we got a few questions. If you got any more, just post them right here on this video. So, yeah, DBN. Yeah, that's what Joel is. You guys want a teaser? You guys want a DBN teaser? So
Yeah,
Joel decided to
leave.
leave.
There they are. Tons of them.
Leave all his troops here. So I don't know what he's got planned, but these are all DBN armies. So he's got a lot. That's what he does. So
Yep.
yeah, check it out. We will. There he is, Rick. Cool. Yeah, check it out. We'll have some gaming tomorrow.
All right.
And a little question and answer. So if you got any stupid questions, what scale do we play? 15 all the way. 15 mil all the way. You got more variety of that. I didn't choose that scale. That was just a scale that was chosen for me, because everybody decided to play in that same scale. So you can't be the odd man out, or you're going to be supplying figures for everybody. Anyways, good night. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
All right. See ya.
See ya.